minutes, I want to talk a little bit about how we can cope with the crazy world that we have created, how to lead our own life, and basically how to tackle times of uncertainty. Just some weeks ago, I was in Kyiv, and I spoke at a big conference in Kyiv. And we talked about the future of the economy. They have created an initiative to reignite Ukraine, to find the power and inspiration in the midst of a war to think about the future. Shouldn't it be about that? To future. What can we impact? What can we do? If we have decided that these are the problems, then we either remain silent or we act. Right? So what's going on in our crazy little world today? We have optimized the art of being right. Everything is about your opinion and my opinion, 0 and 1, the facts, the truth, and the lies. But the world is not like that. The world is more dynamic. And we need to rediscover the art of being wrong. We should all be truth seekers. They talked about it before, about seeking the truth, trying to understand the other opinion. Because only then can we have a conversation that can move us forward. Because the world is dynamic, but the world is also a place of progress. Ever since the 1970s, the world has gotten a little bit better, right? 50 years of slow progress. Never have we lived longer. Never have less people lived in absolute poverty. And never, despite the terrible things that are going on, if you look at the 8 billion on the world's population, never has less people died in wars. The world has gotten a little bit better. But now we look at the world and we see a finite world. We see crises that might be existentially a threat to humanity. But we should never forget the fact that we have experienced progress. So the question should be then, how can we continue and create better problems? How can we have positive progress for humanity? How can we share technology and lift more people out of poverty? How can we end geopolitical tension and wars by finding a common ground to stand on? And for that, we need to free ourselves from our own certitudes. We never solve problems. We just make problems better. It's always about progress. A vaccine does not solve the problem of a pandemic. It just makes the problem better. I put something into my body that should not belong in my body, but I'm not dead. And that's a positive progress. I mean, I don't know how it is to be dead, but I think it's really boring. And I really like to be alive. And we forget how privileged we are. We forget that we every day are privileged to be alive and to get up in the morning. We are the people that can future, and never on this planet, never ever in history has someone had more capacity to future than you. We have some kind of economy, we have a lot of technology, and the challenge is about what do we do? What do you do? Why do you get up in the morning? What kind of problem are you working on? We can talk about the problem, but what problem are you working on? I just came of a conference in Germany. It was the Family Business of the Year award. And a woman won this award. And she came up on stage and gave her speech and talked to the audience. All the big companies in Germany were there, 400 billion euro revenue. And she went up on stage and she told the audience that now she has worked enough. It's time to give the CEO and the management to her children. And that's what family businesses do. They are not in it for a finite game. They are in it for generations, for infinity. And she talked about the problems that we have today. She talked about technology and the global geopolitical tensions and poverty and everything. And she said one thing. One thing. I am only worried about one single thing. That we do not try enough. That we do not put in the effort to make the world a little bit better. And then she welcomed her children up on stage to take over the management of the company. The children were 58, 60, and 62 years old. So Mrs. Bush had been running the company until she was 89. And she was only about how do we put in the effort? How do we take enough action? Goethe wrote in his famous global Faust about it's not about the talk, about the word. It is about the action that we take. How can we build prosperity for posterity? By creating better problems, by striving for progress. And if we want to understand this madness that we call society, I think we have to rethink the economy. The economy is the operating system of our society. Everything has a price and has a value. You go to Davos, to the World Economic Forum, it's all about the future of the economy. If we want to build a social, ecological market economy, it becomes social if there is something to distribute, if there is money to give for services for the people. And it becomes ecological if ecology and economy becomes synergetic. We're not saving the world. We are fighting for human existence. That our children, our grandchildren can continue to experience this that we have, that we get up every morning. That's what we're doing. So if we can put climate and everything into the economy, and we have an incentive for change, then it will become powerful. And we created this AI, right? All of a sudden we had artificial intelligence. I love AI. It's my initials, right? Artificial intelligence. But we underestimated the power. We thought it was going to take away all the cheap labor and the easy job. And all of a sudden, we had knowledge for everyone for free, theoretically. It attacked the experts. Because all experts are experts because they have a lot of information. And technology is very good with information. We're not experts. We are professional amateurs. We should work hard, and we should always have a learning mind. Shosin from Buddhism, right? The progress part. This is what we do. And we built a knowledge society and educated knowledge workers. And then we understood that technology is much better at knowledge, but what we have is understanding. We can grasp complex issues. We should strive for a society of understanding that is built on progress. The economy, it's very much different than it was 100 years ago. Every time we take a terminology and say, this is how it is, I know this, we should think about all the assumptions and all the things that we have built up to this theory. And I think the solution to free ourselves from these certitudes and the tension is to work on education. Throughout history, we created technology that makes our life better. And then we started to create social media. Right? What is social media? Social media is optimized for reaction. If you have very quick reaction, if you can trigger our emotion, thumbs up, thumbs down, then you are rewarded. The whole thing is an economical incentive for a quick reaction. So all of a sudden now, technology is changing how we communicate. Now everything is a division because we have been taught how to communicate in absolutes. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Right now, I want your reaction. And if I get your reaction, I will get more views, I will get more likes, and I will get more money and followers and the whole shabam. Our communication should not be about reaction. It should be about reflection. What is it that this person really means? What is this person trying to tell me? What do I mean when I say something? What are my arguments? What are my thoughts behind this? So AI is either the best thing ever created because it teaches humanity how to think, or it's the worst thing that we ever created. It is an existential threat, but it also had great potential to help us move past a lot of challenges that we have. But the interesting thing about technology, when we now move into an era where will have quantum computer or quantum hybrid computers, is that all of this will be on steroids. We will have a digital tsunami. And if I ask you today, if you can create any world, which world would you create? The theme of this conference is to highlight the challenges that we are facing. When you go home, you are privileged. You can think about what kind of future do I want to fight for? What kind of future do I want to strive for? With my colleagues, my peers, my families, what is it worth living for? And this liveliness and this new way of economy is what I call the quantum economy. Because the economy is much more like quantum physics than the linear models that we have. In business, in the economy, it is not about winning or losing. It is about playing as long as we can. Capitalism is a working model, but it needs compassion. Our challenge is to create a humane capital. Why should we have business if it doesn't serve humanity? Why should we build companies if they're not social for us? Why should we make money out of making money and exploiting other people, when we can put at the heart of the economy the problems that we face? And I think this is how we should look at the times that we are in, the times of climate, how we can build better problems. And this is the quantum economy. The quantum economy has the potential to tackle climate in a very simple term. Because we have started, like we do today, we talk about crisis, but climate and ecology, if we try to limit ourselves, try to reduce everything, and everything is a crisis. If you wake up and you listen to crisis every single day, what do? You get tired, you get depressive, you don't act. Of course we need regulation. Of course we need to limit our consumption in the Western world. Of course we need to build circular economies and regenerative approaches. But the big force is to rethink. Rethink how we look at problems and challenges. Is flying bad for humanity? We think flying should be reduced. That's a narrative. And maybe it is like that. But if you look at it, flying is not bad. It's the best thing we do because we come together and speak across countries. We gather here to discuss issues in real time. We get together and get along. The problem is the technology with which we fly. So the whole emphasis should be on how can we change the technology? How can we build a vacuum cleaner that sucks CO2 out of the air? We can only do this if there is a business model to that. That's the challenge. And the other part is, if we look at how the world evolves, do we think it's realistic to fly less enough? People are flying like crazy. Even the sustainability experts are going on a sabbatical, right? The only thing that changed, we're not putting the photos on Instagram anymore. We still fly. And then we look at how the world evolves. Look at Africa, 1.5 billion today. The young population, they will grow to 4 billion people. And they should also be able to fly once a year on holiday, so we've found airlines. And how it is approached in the narrative of the economy is that we take all the old airplanes and we take off the commercials and we ship them and found new airlines. And all of a sudden, we have 1 billion new passengers that want to fly. We have made the problem worse. So all our emphasis should be in progress of technology, to invest in technology. And this is what the quantum economy is about. It's about an understanding to unleash the potential of technology, the positive aspects of technology. Only by doing so can we cope with all the things that we have created. The only thing humanity has is progress, positive progress, infinite progress. And that's worth striving for, because that's when we learn, that's when we experience, that's when we have good feelings, that we have overcome challenges. If it's not going to be you, who is it going to be? You are here together, connected across borders, a very young audience. You are leaders of change. And I strongly believe that not crisis and negativity will help us. I think we have to find an incentive for change. The only chance if we can change something, I have to find an incentive. I have to figure out how can I move you into a positive change. To change behavior, consumption, crisis of war has to come out of an incentive. Why should I stop? Why should I change my mind? That's the power of change. Those are very small things, small steps every day. And you are the leaders of change. And some of you might know these young boys, men. They're from my home country, Norway. A lot of snow, yes, we have oil money, but that's not the answer. All of a sudden, country like Norway, they're not very famous for their high-performance culture. All of a sudden, they have all these athletes. The best golfer in the world, top 3 tennis player, the best beach volleyball players are from Norway, the best triathletes, the best track and field runners. All of a sudden, and it's not just in sport. They have the startups and the things that are coming in ecology. And I was very interested in how that came to be. But what intrigued me the most was they are not only the best, they are the most liked. They are popular from their opponents. They are popular from referees and media. They practice team play. They come together and collaborate, even if they do individual sports. How can we put in the effort? How can we build a high-performance culture rooted in values? I am because you are, right? It's an interdependence. We only exist in relation to other human beings. And I want to end this 2-day wonderful conference with some takeaways on how we can cope with the world and its uncertainties and how you can become a leader of change. 5 things I took out for this short session. And number 1 is practice analytical skills. Practice analytical thinking. Learn how to love complexities. The world is not simple. It's very complex in many terms. If you learn how to love complexity, then you will learn how to navigate ambiguous situations. We need a high tolerance of ambiguities. And we also need to tackle the unknown. This is the world we live in. So practice analytical thinking. Not what to think. That's what we learned in school. This is 1973. This is right, this is wrong. Not what to think, but how to think. We need to learn how to learn. We shouldn't practice creativity. We should stop training not to be creative. Every child, if you have children, you know, we are born with an empty storage, then we start to navigate. My little daughter went past the escalator a couple of months ago, and she saw this red big button. And she went about and said, "What does this button do, Daddy?" And this is what we do. And then we are trained to think like this and do this and be a role and be in structures. And that limits the potential of progress, united progress. Train analytical skills. Practice self-trust. Trust yourself. Only if you trust yourself can you trust other people. Trust yourself. Stand up, speak up, trust yourself. It's the core of united trust. It could only be about self-trust. We need people that take responsibility, that stand up for something. What are you 100% pro? Over the past 2 days, I heard a lot of things that we are against. Okay, I agree. But what are you 100% pro? You get up in the morning, this is what I am pro. This is what I want to do. And then you go out with self-trust and you act on that. And number 3, we can only do this together. Nobel Prizes are given to teams. Stand up and practice your voice. Speak out loud. The old rhetoric, ethos, pathos, logos. Practice how to mobilize and activate people for your cause. We can only do it together. An ethical foundation, 2 values, maximum 3. We can't have 100 values. 2 values, what you are about. I can wake you up at 4 o'clock in the morning and say, this is what you stand for. Tell me. And then some pathos and a logical argument. And we can, of course, use ChatGPT and everything to train logic, right? So it's all about practicing your voice and activating people. And I'll give you one Norwegian word. This is dugnad. Dugnad is serving other people without any purpose, any reward. Just believe that if I do something for someone else, it will serve the collective. If the collective grows, if the collective can participate, I can strive even more. This is the ethos of the Norwegian success formula. They are individual superstars, but they always go back and believe in the common good. It's voluntary work without work. It's what you do for others without any expectation. And again here, we are in a region, in a geostrategic region that has proven over and over and over again in history that we have people that are willing to work and do things for other people. This is the dugnad. We can only do this together. We should have fun. The most contagious virus in any culture, for all the countries that you are in, if I visit your country and I smile, you will smile back. Maybe awkward, because you don't know how it is when people smile at you, but you will smile. It's a contagious virus. Negativity breeds negativity. The power of positivism. And coming back to my visit in Kyiv, yes, I cried on stage. I had the feeling. And then I go out and talk to the people, and they are passionate to build and rebuild. And they have the power, and they put in the power every single day. And I think, how the hell, coming from Norway, have not experienced any crisis in my whole life. And this to me is a vision that if they can, then all of us can. Put in the positivity. Put in the progress and learn to enjoy progress. There are 2 types of game. One is the sport game. That's a finite game. And we have a lot of finite games. In politics, the elections is a finite game. In business, it's about the milestone and the goals. But then you have the infinite game. And the infinite game is about playing, staying in the game. And this is life. Nothing in terms of ecology and business can be about finitude. It cannot be about absolutism. It can be about local and global, short-term and long-term. It's about staying in the game. And if we stop playing, we risk growing up. We risk getting old. And we should enjoy this wonderful journey that we call life. And I love technology. I love technology. I have invested in tech companies, in quantum tech and AI. I really believe in technology. But I believe even more in the mensch, the human being. What does it mean to be a mensch, a human? We always say now the human can focus on the relevant part, the important things. What is that? What does it mean to be a mensch? Have you thought about that? What distinguishes us from technology? As long as we cannot answer that question, we are in a good space. The void, that what does not exist, right? It's kind of like love. Right? Love is such a concept that we cannot really figure out what it means. What is love? What is love? I fall in love. What is love? Love is a promise into the future. What is love? Love is abundance of information. That what I do not know. Right? You fall in love and you know it will be terrible. There will be disappointments, struggles, challenges. But you fight through it, you take action, and you do that. And this wonderful little essence of being a mensch, this is what it all now boils down to. What is it that you desire the most? What kind of world do we want to create? What do we do? He receives emotions, that feeling, what it means to be alive. He reaches a deeper understanding, not knowledge, facts, data, a deeper understanding. He witnesses happiness. You cannot make yourself happy. You can only make yourself less unhappy by tackling the small problems. Be micro-ambitious. Look at the small things and fix them, and put yourself in a position where you can be struck by something called happiness. He makes the world more beautiful for himself. We can influence the world, at least our own world. And he feels the love. He feels the love. And in your life, after 2 days, I think we can now take a common strategy. We have people here from 80 countries. It's a chance for us to take this year's Stratcom conference and create a new strategy. And the strategy should be about trust. Our theme for the conference should be about trust. Trust is not about transparency and validating data. If we have all the knowledge and all the data, it makes trust obsolete. We need to work on the technical validation, but we also need to work on what we think that we can achieve together. And that comes from our actions and our belief that the future can be better. The belief that the person sitting next to you can be trusted again and again and again. And with all the disappointments, you grow, you learn, you move forward. So can we please all agree that after these 2 wonderful days, let's trust in a better future. Let's trust that we can create better problems. Let's think about how privileged we are to be alive and to be in a place where we are allowed to future, where we can shape at least our own reality. I wish you a wonderful night of reflection, and I wish you a wonderful journey of shaping this future that we can make brighter than it is today, because you are the leaders of change. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.